Good evening, and welcome to the Brother Ill Show. We are um, getting everything hooked up tonight. We had to get the kiddies in bed. Um, it's not easy running the homeschool program. We go 7 days a week, and it could be quite tough. So I got to pick and choose the best hours to. Let's see. So I got to find the best time to come out and run the show um and get into the zone or whatever. I'm always in the zone though. I'm always ready to give praises and honors to the Most High, the great God Almighty, and honors to His angels, honors to all of you this evening. It is it has been a magnificent time that truth is on the scene. I've been one of the people, what you call a revealer of the light. And we've been ringing, sounding the alarm for years now on the money laundering operation that's happening within the United States. And it's an international money laundering operation, and it has been uncovered. The obvious, it was obvious the same people was getting the money in the local communities. The same. I just did a show on this. Really like my last dance, what I call the last dance, my farewell to Meta, Facebook platform, because it has also been shown and demonstrated that big tech was involved on the censorship of critical intelligence that was aimed and designed and for the American people to be aware of these operations that's happening. And so um it's these are what we refer to as rigged outcomes. These are engineered outcomes. And so again, in our culture, we're taught that truth need no support. Truth need no support. And so here we are in a time of revelation. Let's go. What we got here? Elon. Not many Spartans are needed to win battles. Elon has six. Okay. And so Elon Musk has been doing an excellent job. U.S. aid officials suspended over security dispute. And we're gonna go to my page and pull this stuff up. And Elon's been doing an incredible job at exposing the fraud. U.S. aid. Why is U.S. aid giving millions of dollars to at Bill Crystal? Deep state is far preferable to Trump state. Wow. Whew. Look at that. Indeed, I wonder where USA 100 billion went. Everyone now screwing. or scurrying to cover their asses, including Zelensky, right? All the money that went over to Ukraine, that was a part of the money operation. The USAA was the platform they were using to make it an international money laundering operation. And this is all the way in the local communities. So if you've been wondering why
No será renovada por mi
same
gobierno.
group of people has been getting the funding, it's because it's it's a money laundering operation. There's nothing else to talk about. And so that's why it was so important to maintain control because of these realities that are unfolding, you know what I mean, to the American people. Now, this case here, this is breaking. Panama's president has ended the country's Panama Canal deal with China immediately following a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And so this was about the same thing ending the money line internationally and the unfair trade arrangements and agreements towards the American people. So we've been getting taxed, we've been fronting the bill, we've been doing a lot of things, allowing it from the within, and it's been hurting the whole country, the whole nation. And so we've been getting fake narratives, what we refer to as propaganda, and we know propaganda is authorized to be in use as a tool of keeping the American people in a state of confusion. So they don't quite understand how this is actually happening to them, but they feeling the adverse effects of it every single day. And so this is the official stance, position, and disposition of we the people, and the arrangements, international and domestic arrangements, are hereby canceled till further notice. We have a right to course correction. We have a right to amend these relations that we are receiving an unfair uh, result from the arrangement, the terms of the arrangement. So, with responsible people that are masters around the subject matter of contracts and leverage and negotiations and trade and policy and practice and um, result driven administration and remembrance of the people that you serve. And it's not the elected officials, it's the people, um, of America, we the people. You understand me? So it's been unfair that we've been getting taxed and making everybody else as wealthy as they need to be, while we've left with uh, things like racism, basically distractions, propaganda, psyops, misdirection tactics and devices, strategies, and these entities are controlled by the same force. So, which that's why their behaviors is uniform. You can see a uniform approach towards um, the structure of government being inflicted on the people, which is absolutely contrary to the original Constitution form of government as a republic, serving the people, of the people, for the people, by the people, and exempt from taxes. You know how we all of a sudden is taxing the American people and using them as fuel to fund a machine that's designed to genocide the American people. And this has an adverse impact and effect on the rest of the planet, on the rest of the nations. And so, uh, what are we going to do if the office of president has been beholden uh, to uh, the detriment of and the erosion of our way of life? So we had to take a look at that. We had to study it. We had to identify exactly where the pain points were at. Um, we talk about the southern border is just a representation of the political borders that has been invaded. That's the issue. And foreign money has been infused into our arenas, political arenas, our our legal arenas, our judicial arenas, and every arena. It has become a force. And so this is what's being uncovered with the U.S. aid, the freeze, the audit, Doge, Elon. We appreciate the activity because this is superior activity. This is the next level of what was destined for the great nation, for this great nation and the great nations of the earth. Because the issue is that we've got corruption at the top level, and we are feeling the negative results of that corruption. And so the reality is that the corruption is making people trillions in profit, making institutions stronger, more powerful than ever, and leaving the people as nothing more than a harvest. You understand me? So, and detoxing the body to get rid of the parasites, the body's going to go through a transformation, and it's going to feel intense. The one thing you got to remember is that you got to breathe. Breathing is important. Breathing is essential. Breathing is the secret to being able to release the stress, the negative energies from out of your force field, right? And breathe in the blessings, breathe in the healing energies from the ethers. You understand me? And unlocking the energy centers, charging the cells to be able to receive the blessings of this administration. President under the 47th President Donald J. Trump. This is important because that so-called time off was really an opportunity to actually study it both from inside and outside, to understand that things were in place to provide greater national security and to grow our economy and to unleash our economy to where it actually benefit we the people. And so where we can eradicate poverty, we can rebuild our infrastructure, we can come into the 21st centuries as leaders in every essential field, whether it's tech, whether it's defense, whether it's citizenry, whether it's the quality of life, whether it's um, strengthening our currency, gold back, silver back, putting in place common sense policies and practices. This is the time. And so we see here with this example, with the president of Panama coming to a negotiation angle where the United States are the beneficiary, where the people are the beneficiary. So we're going to end this system's international system, tax system against the people of the United States of America. We're going to end that system. It's unconstitutional. We have what is referred to as freedoms, untaxed, unbeholden to any lord, monarchy, organization, etc. The people of the Constitutional Republic, United States of North America are free. And if you are an entity that is anti-freedom, then we can't do business with you. We can't be in the business of doing business with people who are in the business of suppression of the people's will, the people's birthrights, the people's liberties. That's a violation of God's law. So we got to understand that business is important. The economic capacities, positioning, and the terms are important. Yeah, what is this? We got Trump laid out a case. He said, wait a minute. So we basically gave you guys this pursuant to this agreement, this arrangement. And at this point, upon evaluation or review, we put the relationship under review. The same way we put all of the current activities of the federal government, including its operations, you understand me? Classified and declassified, it is hereby under review. Every department, every office, everything, every budget, every receipt is all under review, presidential review. This is about national security. It ain't about how you feel yesterday and I'm Republican and you Democrat. No, this is about national security, meaning this is about your security and my security. This is about our security domestically and internationally. We have to address all threats wherever they may be found. And we have to root it out. We got to get rid of it. And we have to put in place a government that's agreeable to the Constitution. 1787 for the United States of America. This is the reality. So we got a president that represents the United States of America, we the people. We the people. He won the populist vote, we the people. So your job, his obligation, the mandate is a full forensic audit, i.e. Doge. Full forensic audit. Where the money going to? When did it go? How much went there? Where did it go to? We need to see it. And we've uncovered that they got a massive money laundering operation. And the only thing I want to say in response to that is, duh. What the heck else would you call it? What the heck else would you think it was? That was the obvious. The smoking gun was Hunter Biden with the 16 plus 20 some shell companies. That was the smoking gun. The laptop was the smoking gun that they were running a money laundering operation both federally and locally. That's why you got so much putback with the eradication of the education department and the freeze on those funds, federal funds, because it this is how this is how they've been doing it down in the local level. What and this, what is the smoking gun? They're not producing the results that fosters the nation being a leader in all of the relevant categories on a global level. We can't be last in reading on a global level. We can't be 21st in this area, and we can't be this and that. And we supposed to be the most mightiest nation on earth. That's messing up the branding. We can't run around here saying we're the most powerful nation on earth, and our children, the reading scores is bottom globally. The workforce is bottom. We last in this. We second, third, fourth, fifth in that. We 21st in this. We 26th in that. The data there. So when you look at performance, you're like, well, wait a minute. We got to be able to compete with the rest of the world. You got China shooting moves, you got Russia shooting moves, and rightfully so. Everybody should be looking to grow their economy, looking to be a benefit to the nation economically, militarily, through the diplomacy capacities. Excuse me. You want to be operating at a high level. That's your responsibility as a president, as administration, Congress, uh, the judiciary, all the components, corporations, big corporations, the workforce, um, and like everybody got to be on board. Everybody got the scientists, like the nation got to be strong, and the nation gonna need it takes finance to uplift a nation. So, what Trump is doing is saying, well, hey, we're down $36 trillion allegedly, and we have to freeze everything, right, from a financial, from a financial, you know, uh, when you talk about we gotta look at the finances. How do we do that? And everything is still it's still in rotation. No, stop it, freeze it, pause, stop right there. Let's audit this. Let's audit that. 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 We gotta provide a debt relief, financial relief for the American people. That's his job. That's their job. They have to provide relief for the American people. We need financial relief. They said we owe $36 trillion. How do you explain that to the American people without taking a look, uh, 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 um, without taking a look at the books? Not just a look, you got to analyze the books. We got to bring the best and brightest. We got to have the best technology because this is a serious forensic art. This is a national forensic art. We want to know, okay, where our money is going to, where has it been going to, and why? Who authorized this? Because we're classifying the $36 trillion deficit as a national security issue. We got a national security financial crisis. We got a debt crisis in the within the United States. Um, you got countries shooting moves that's trying to remove us from a world currency leader, currency capacity when it comes to a reserve currency, a global currency. And so we got to take a look at strengthening the currency. We need more. My thing, POTUS, President Trump. My thing is we need to get control of the Federal Reserve, and we need to uh, negotiate with Congress, whether it's Senate or the House, about looking at the legislation that was passed to create that algorithm. Because if we're going to be serious about um, our financial forecast, and the growth, economic growth, etc., we have to have more influence, more control of the monetary policies. And so we need to look at, really, we need to take a look, a strong forensic audit of the Federal Reserve. We need to look at how do we give up and surrender, that level of power. How do we surrender that without, this is the time to take a look at that. I think we should take a strong look at that. I think we should take control. Actually, this is about the recoupment of the people's power, the people's authority. We got to end the operation of the overthrow of the Constitution. Let's not stop where we. So, anyways, let's go back. I forgot I was shooting on that one. So let's go back to Benny.
Una cosa importante, que es una decisión que adopté y se la comuniqué. El memorándum de entendimiento, una cosa importante, que es una decisión que adopté y se la comuniqué. El memorándum de entendimiento del año 2017 sobre la ruta de la seda de Belt and Road Initiative no será renovado por mi gobierno. Eso es así. Vamos a estudiar la posibilidad de si se puede terminar antes o no, pero creo que le toca en 1 o 2 años la renovación, porque es cada 3. Así que esa iniciativa que se firmó, cuando se firmó, en el tiempo que se firmó, no será renovada por mi gobierno. Creo que esta visita abre un camino para construir una nueva etapa de relaciones. Así lo veo yo, así lo sentí de parte del secretario Marco Rubio, y a la vez tratar la medida de lo posible de que se incrementen las inversiones de los Estados Unidos en Panamá. Le expliqué una serie de proyectos de infraestructura que el gobierno tiene en carpeta, en cartera, con el ánimo de que las conozcan y en su momento que se hagan las licitaciones, que comenzarán muy pronto, pues se pueda entrar.
Wow. President Trump is a specialist at winning. It appears he won that trade war. Okay. So say, why is USA running a global international censorship program which pulls together 100 or hundreds of censorship NGOs into a common network with USA programs express stated goal being to pressure foreign governments to pass laws and regulations to censor speech on social media. The United States cannot participate in anything like that. The U.S. aid need to be shut down ASAP without hesitation.
States of America. To be more precise, that's what the exact figure sounded like, which was supported of a billion.
Wow. 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 Did you hear that? Wow. I told you it's an international, it's one of the greatest money heists, wealth heists in the history of the world when this thing is all said and done. And they saying we owe $36 trillion. Wow. 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 I seen that too. I seen that too. So let's slow it down. Wow. Wow. Why the American people sitting here dealing with inflation, historic heights of inflation, historic uh, what is that? Border crisis, historic grocery prices, historic gas prices, historic supply chain interruptions. We got countries not dealing with us, not respecting us. We got us shooting ourselves in the foot, not producing our own energy, not staying energy dominant, energy independent, creating an energy crisis and and that's why I say it wasn't incompetence, it was intentional. That was a project 2020 implemented, which really, in my view, personal views, is the coup d'état and the overthrow of the Constitution and the authority of the American people. And so, and now it's like, okay, well, you know, let's look at the evidence and the results. Let's look at every office. Let's look at every program. Let's look at the grants. Let's look at the organizations the grants is going to. Let's look at the leadership of the organizations. Let's see who people are. Let's open this thing all the way up. I mean, it's literally the obvious. When you sit back and look at the conditions, you say, well, why is this situation like this? Why? How did it get like this? How do we get to accepting a super hyper inflationary monetary system, including a predatory foreclosing economy? Like, what is this? Why do we have a rapid uh, homelessness? We see in California, Skid Row. Why do we have all this money that's going to these programs when we can just take what looks like a complex problem and create a simple solution, common sense approaches towards these issues? And what we've done is allow people to come in with this fake credentials, and they're really agents, and they're running an operation to destabilize the United States of America, and have been successful at it with the aid and assistance of our own, what appears, what we thought was our own people. But we can see now clearly where the people's allegiance, you got a lot of dual. I'm not against it really. What I'm against is you can't serve two masters. That's a principle. Either you pledge your allegiance to the flag in the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, for liberty and justice for all, or you pledge your allegiance to whatever foreign nation, state that you representing. But you need to register as a foreign agent. It need to be known. And when you talk about making decisions that impact and affect the American people, we can't have you in that type of capacity. because you might agree with and support with a nation even against America's interests. You know, that's what we refer to as a compromise. So you compromise. We can't have a Congress compromise. We can't have the executive branch compromise. We can't have the judiciary branch compromise. We depend on the free press. We can't have a free press compromise. The press can't be suppressed. The press got to have access to producing the truth. And so, Putin is right. Trump had an opportunity to sit back and actually see, you know, it's almost like a setup play. Okay, it's almost like a setup play. It's like everything that happened intentionally. And you know, my belief is that it wasn't about Trump knowing. It was about me knowing, you knowing, we knowing, us knowing. That's what it was about. No, we are involved in the injury, the economic injury, the wealth injury, the political injury, the religious injury. We have been suffering injury due to the constitutional crisis existing at North America. That means we in a spiritual crisis. That's what that means. The soul of this country was in question. The DNC, the Democrats, flagged the Constitution as a controversial document. It's like, well, that's the soul of the country. That's the birth certificate. How did you flag? And your very existence depends on the strength of the Constitution. So there was an attack on the Constitution, which means that is a direct attack on the will of the American people. We have an issue. That's the part where you say Houston, we have an issue. Houston, we have a problem. We out of orbit. We out of order. We are a nation of law and what? And order. American people, we are a nation of law and order. We are a constitutional republic. Article 4, Section 4 of the American Constitution for the United States of America. 1787, ratified in 1789. But the covert operations is what has been oppressing the people. And let make no mistake about it. If any citizen has suffered an injustice, the nation as a whole suffers an injustice. We are united, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. We are united, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. So if any American citizen suffers an injustice, the nation is in dishonor. The declaration is void. You have no standing at law and or international law. So if there's any violation, any violation of a constitutional protected, guaranteed, secure right, an inherent right, the Constitution is not being enforced. This is about every American citizen, national, inhabitant, indigenous, aboriginal, etc. This is about each and every one of us understanding the individual obligation, divine obligation to enforce the Constitution. You must enforce it by exercising your rights. But you got to know your rights. You got to know, and part of knowing your rights is the right to know the infrastructure, the organizational chart of the local municipality, and it's working. You got to know, understand that body. You got to understand the legislative branch in your local community, executive branch, the judicial branch. You got to know the administrative state in operation within these institutions. You got to know the corporations that's in operation within your community. You got to know the board, the CEO, you got to understand the purpose, the premise, its core principle. Is it a partner of the community? Is it fostering relations, positive relations with the community? Is it, does it, you know what I mean? How is it contributing to the quality of life, improving the quality of life of that community? So, in course correction, we got to look at all of the areas that we're weak at, right? And recharge those energy centers. So cities like Pontiac, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Van Harbor, Michigan, wherever these types of cities are at, that's been suffering due to the constitutional crisis, that's been fostering these injustice, economic injustice, financial, wealth injustice, health injustice, all of these different scenarios, situations. Um, our agenda with this administration is to bring these communities into a balance, right? And so we got to open it up and take a look at it and see what the heck has been going on down here. And we found the core. How, we found a pipe. It's like a pipeline. You heard about the Russian pipeline, the gas pipelines that allow things to flow from A to B. And so with the money laundering operation, they built a pipeline from federal government down all the way down into the local communities into the NGOs. That's why they busted Lindsey Graham. They're like, well, then how did you vote on this, right? And then you shoot down here and become the president of this NGO, director of this NGO, and then you receiving this same money you voted on directly. And that don't seem right, bro. We gotta take a look at you. That's called fraud. And you sitting up here making all this good money, and the American people sitting here suffering. So these things we gotta see that. You know what I'm saying? That's important to know. Because the people of his community will lose faith in his ability, and then they'll recall him and put somebody in place that's going to actually serve at the will and pleasure of the American people. And so, important times, these things are being revealed to you in the year of the number 9. So that's an important time. Let's see what else we got here. All right. So reducing the federal deficit from 2 trillion to 1 trillion fiscal year in the fiscal year of 2026 requires cutting an average 4 billion a day and projected 2026 spending from now to September 30th. Woo. This will still result in a $1 trillion deficit but economic growth. I read that already. Putin, I want ordinary Western people to hear me. You are being told that your current issues are the result of Russia and that you have to pay counter the alleged Russian threat from your own pockets. All of that is a lie.
Обостряются. Хочу, чтобы меня услышали и простые граждане западных государств. Вас сейчас настойчиво пытаются убедить в том, что все ваши трудности – это результат каких-то враждебных действий России, что из вашего собственного кошелька надо оплатить борьбу с мифической русской угрозой. Все это ложь. А правда в том, что текущие проблемы, с которыми сталкиваются миллионы людей на Западе, стали результатом многолетних действий правящих элит их государств. Их ошибок, близорукости и амбиций. Эти элиты думают не о том, как улучшить жизнь своих граждан в западных странах. Они одержимы своими корыстными интересами и сверхприбылями. Свидетельствуют тому данные международных организаций, которые прямо говорят о том, что социальные проблемы даже в ведущих западных странах в последние годы только обостряются, что растут неравенство, разрыв между бедными и богатыми, дают о себе знать расовые и национальные конфликты. Миф о западном обществе всеобщего благоденствия, о так называемом «золотом миллиарде» рушится. Повторю, сегодня всей планете приходится расплачиваться именно за амбиции Запада, за его попытки любыми способами сохранить свое ускользающее доминирование.
Wow.
І раніше чув, і сьогодні ми чуємо від Сполучених Штатів Америки, що Америка дала Україні сотні мільярдів, 177, якщо сказати більш точно. Така звучала точна цифра, яку підтримували або голосував Конгрес, тощо різні організації. Дивіться, я як президент воюючої країни вам говорю, ми отримали більше 75. Тобто 100 мільярдів з цих 177 або 200, говорять навіть деякі люди, ми ніколи не отримували. І це важливо. Бо ми говоримо про конкретні речі, бо ми отримали це не грошима, а зброєю. Ми зброю отримали на 70 з чимось мільярдів. Є навчання, тренування, є додатковий транспорт, є не тільки ціну на зброю, були гуманітарні програми, соціальні тощо. Але коли говорять, що Україна під час війни отримала 200 мільярдів на підтримку армії тощо, це неправда. Я не знаю, де всі ці гроші.
Look at this, y'all. So USA Eco Health Alliance and the CIA tried to pay off analysts to bury findings that COVID lab leak was likely. Whistleblower. Told you. It's gonna keep coming. So USA, this is Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. So USA, Eco Health Alliance, and the CIA were all involved in funding and creating COVID-19 in the Wuhan lab, which led to killing millions of people, forced COVID vax, and also killed and injured millions of people, and the worst abuse of government overreach. What did it say? Man, in our lifetime. And they made the American people pay for it. If true, crimes against humanity. USAA funneled $53 million to Eco Health Alliance were being used U.S. taxpayer funds to support gain-of-function research on coronavirus at the Wuhan lab. Research that likely led to the creation of COVID-19. The CIA deception regarding COVID-19 origins become much clearer when considering USA long story of serving as a CIA front organization, with the annual budget exceeding $50 billion and activities in over 100 countries. USA has repeatedly been linked to intelligence activities. Former USA Director John Gilligan once admitted the agency was infiltrated from top to bottom with CIA people, explaining that the idea was to plant operatives of every kind of activity we had overseas, government, volunteer, religious, every kind. In 2013, a U.S. cable published by WikiLeaks outlined a U.S. strategy to undermine Venezuela's government through U.S. aid by penetrating Chavez's political base, dividing Chavismo and isolating Chavez internationally. In 2014, the Associated Press revealed that USA funded the creation of a Twitter-like platform intended to incite a rebellion in Cuba. USA funding has been linked to coups in Haiti, Ukraine, Egypt, and other nations. From 2009 to 2019, USA partnered with EcoHealth Alliance on the PREDICT program, which identified 1,200 new viruses, trained 5,000 people globally in disease detection, and it has 60 research labs. This partnership provided the CIA with a direct channel for embedding human assets within biological research facilities worldwide in exchange for funding and technology transfer. In 2022, Dr. Andrew Huff, a former president at EcoHealth Alliance, publicly revealed Dr. Peter Daszak alleged ties to the CIA. The court issued the CIA lied to the American public about COVID-19 origin because acknowledging the truth would expose its likely role in funneling taxpayer money through U.S. aid to finance gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. New York Post: CIA tried to pay off analysts to bury findings that COVID lab leak was likely whistleblower. It was likely. Man. It's being revealed, y'all.
Had multiple calls with Fauci, Farrar, and Tedros about how important I thought it was that science get engaged in aggressive pursuing both hypotheses. I also expressed as a clinical virologist that in early to mid-January, I did have multiple calls with Fauci, Farrar, and Tedros about how important I thought it was that science get engaged in aggressive pursuing both hypotheses. I also expressed as a clinical virologist that I felt it was not scientifically plausible that this virus went from a bat to humans and became one of the most infectious viruses that we have for humans. All viruses are not the same. So when you look at coronaviruses for SARS and MERS, for example, when they entered the human species, which they did via an intermediate, they never learned how to go human to human. Even to this day, they don't know how to go human to human. So you can't equate Ebola with a coronavirus.
Now, why do you think you were excluded from those calls?
Because it was told to me that they wanted a single narrative and that I obviously had a different point of view.
Okay. In emails following the conference call, 4 of the 11 scientists told Fauci that they all found the genetic sequence inconsistent with expectations from evolutionary theory, basically what you're saying. However, just 3 days later, these 4 scientists had drafted a paper arguing the exact opposite, and that's now the infamous proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2. Our investigations show this paper was prompted by Dr. Fauci, among others, with a goal to disprove the lab leak theory. What is the likelihood that these scientists came across additional information just 3 days after making these statements to conclude with such certainty that COVID-19 came from nature instead of the lab leak that they thought it was 3 days earlier?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. Again, I've said this before, that this whole approach that was taken on February 1st, and subsequently in the month of February, if you really want to be truthful, it's antithetical to science.
Thank you.
Science has debate, and they squashed any debate.
Thank you. Given what we know now and looking at all the conversations in February of 2020 and before the release of the paper, do you think that Dr. Fauci used this paper to hide the gain-of-function research created this virus?
I can't talk about Fauci's motivation.
Do you think that the paper does hide the truth?
I think it's an inaccurate paper that basically was part of a narrative that they were creating. Remember, this pandemic did not start in January at the seafood market. We now know there was infections all the way back into September. This was a narrative that was decided that they were going to say this came from the wet market, and they were going to do everything they could to support it, to negate any discussion.
Wow.
About the possibility that this came from a laboratory.
I got 20 seconds left. Dr. Fauci was affirmatively told in an email that NIAID had a monetary relationship with the Wuhan Institute through EcoHealth Alliance. He was told this in January 27th of 2020. Do you think that Dr. Fauci intentionally lied under oath to Senator Paul when he vehemently denied NIH's funding of gain-of-function research?
I think there's no doubt that NIH was funding gain-of-function research.
Is it likely that American tax dollars funded the gain-of-function research that created this virus?
I think it did not only from NIH, but from the State Department, USAID, and from DOD.
I'm out of time. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. I'm serious out here right now.
And it's called the Madon Rebellion in Ukraine, which we're not told that we are financing those riots. The newspapers never told us, our government never told us. USAID, which is a CIA front, put $5 billion into funding those riots. Those riots lead to to a coup d'etat against the first democratically elected government of the Ukraine. It was a government that refused to choose sides and to say, we're going to be on the side of the West. So we wanted them out. A month before that government is overthrown, Victoria Nuland, who's the part of the centerpiece of the neocon ideology and who is now a high-level official in the State Department, has a secret call with the U.S. ambassador, which is tape recorded and is now public, which anybody can go and look up, where she is picking the new cabinet for the Ukraine, which is which is a U.S. Western cabinet. So they're picking the new government a month before the old government is overthrown.
Is that how democracy? Is that democracy when Victoria Nuland picks her government?
Well, that's the point. Is USAID doesn't really do, and the CIA don't do democracy. The CIA has overthrown, I think, 83 governments between 1947 and 1997. That's a third of the governments on Earth, and most of them were democracies. Oh, it doesn't do democracy.
Man, they own it. CIA reports confirm COVID-19 was bioengineered by Pentagon in 2017. Now that's what they call breaking news. So here on General Flynn, this is my final warning as it relates to confirmations at real Donald Trump nominees. If there are people inside of ODNI, the CIA, or the FBI that are working to subvert the nomination of Tulsi Patel and Kennedy. He said, I am writing to let you know you better stop now and think before you go any further. There are many people that are ready to be whistleblowers, and there is so much reporting currently flowing out, not classified leaks, but leaks of subversive and treasonous behavior. This has to end, and trust if it doesn't, you will be caught and you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Man, that is tough. Yeah, Elon. Elon said, I just talked to the Senator Young. I stand corrected. Senator Young would be a great ally in restoring power to the people from the vast unelected bureaucracy. You see, when we got President Trump responds to speculation that he will impose tariffs on European Union countries. Uh-oh. Reporters are you going to impose tariffs on the European Union, Trump? Do you want the truthful answer or the political answer?
Question, because well, you're asking me a question because I'm sure you didn't hear. Am I going to impose tariffs on the European Union? Do you want the truthful answer, or should I give you a political answer? Absolutely. Well, you're asking me a question because I'm sure you didn't hear. Am I going to impose tariffs on the European Union? Do you want the truthful answer, or should I give you a political answer? Absolutely. Well, you're asking me a question because I'm sure you didn't hear.
Ridiculous. The advantage they've been taking on the United States, it's been ridiculous, and it got to be done. Okay, so what is this? LAPD riot control are finally taking on the illegal alien protest. Here's my question: why aren't there ICE agents embedding them with the law enforcement just arresting and deporting or shall I say, and deporting the illegals? Just in Mexico, peso Canadian dollar crashes or dollar crash following U.S. President Trump's tariff. Oh, whoa, whoa. President Trump is on a tear. Wow. Man, you talking about shaking up the world in only 2 to 3 weeks? Man, he's coming fast. Oh, this another one here where it says Trump, the water is flowing in California. These once empty half pipes are now brimming with beautiful clean water and heading to the farms throughout the state and to Los Angeles. Too bad they refused to do this during my first time. There would have been no fires. Mm-hmm. President Trump. I want to thank our great military and the Army Corps of Engineers for their love of our country and speed in getting this emergency done. Trump. Trump is on the scene making it work. The brother came in with a straight American agenda. He was serious. Alert: Mexican government may collapse in weeks. Wow. Trump crushed their dollar down like that. That was a major blow to their economy. Right now, they're going to be suffering from inflation. They say Joy Vila just stunned everyone at the Grammys talking about President Trump's deportation. Selena Gomez should cover her ears.
Able to walk at night and not rape. I think the ones that should be deported are being deported. To be honest, I'm a Latina. My family came from this country to this country legally. And I love to see rapists, human traffickers deported. I don't want to see them here. I want us to be free for all colors, for all people. Like, that's what makes America great again. So we can create, so we can live. Like, as an artist, as a musician, I want to be able to walk at night and not think that I'm going to get killed by an illegal alien. And so those are the people getting deported, and those are the people that should get deported. I think the ones that should be deported.
Wow. New tariffs from President Trump are set to impact 1.3 trillion worth of U.S. trade. The U.S. stock market. The U.S. stock market has lost over 1.5 trillion of market cap, with 43% of all U.S. imports subject to tariffs. What does this mean? Let us explain. 25%. Man, put 25% tariff on those people. Wow. So again, you get the vibe. You get the vibe. You get the vibration for tonight. You understand where it's at. It's coming to an end. The money laundering operation is coming to an end. So did you know that USA ID using your tax dollars funded bioweapon research, including COVID-19, that killed millions of people? They own it. 22 million people viewed that, dog. Elon ain't bull crapping. This is encouraging the new government deliver at once what is best for the states. FBI agent on that. Wow, so that's a big thing that's going on right now, y'all. Make sure y'all focus in on U.S. aid. They got exposed. They got exposed.
Delivering on his promises to you. You feel he's doing a good job right now? I do. I think Elon's doing a good job. He's a big cost cutter. Sometimes we won't agree with it and we'll not go where he wants to go, but I think he's doing a great job. He's a smart guy, very smart, and he's very much into cutting the budget of our federal government.
Mr. President,
You feel that Elon Musk is delivering on his promises to you? You feel he's doing a good job right now? I do. I think Elon's doing a good job. He's a big cost cutter. Sometimes we won't agree.
Good job, Elon. Man, look at all that money we found. Say, why is you? I think we read this already. Censorship program, which pulls together hundreds of NGOs, and entire operating social media accounts of these politicians are working overtime. American people elect Trump. Elon been on them. So it's the Trump Elon administration. Both USA and NED are directly accountable to both the House Foreign Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. We need both House and Senate subpoena hearings and mandatory transcribed interviews with all USA and NED employees involved. I like that. I love that, actually. Like, what are they waiting on? They should have already been announcing that as soon as this story dropped. Why did USA pay $20 million to hit piece journalists to dig up dirt on Rudy Giuliani? Y'all see the vibe. Y'all know what it is. It's thick, man, and it's on the flow. USA has been paying media organizations to publish their propaganda. Why did USA get 27 million to the U.S. fiscal sponsor of the group controlling Soros-funded prosecutor and telling them which American citizens and politicians to prosecute? It just keep getting worse and worse and worse, y'all. Why was USA funding the production of heroin in Afghanistan? Feds, U.S. taxpayers' funds helping irrigate, fertilize Afghan opium funding Taliban. DC, American taxpayer money has funded irrigation canals, farming equipment, and even fertilizer used to support the unprecedented poppy cultivation and heroin production in Afghanistan, mainly benefiting Taliban narco jihadists, U.S. official found. Come on, man. What are we talking about here? Are you serious? Are you serious? You can't be. You can't be. This is just again as president in my President Trump voice, ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. You mean to tell me we sent 27 million? Basically, we selling dope. We selling big heroin. We growing it. We got the bag. We got the bag. We growing it. We got a bag in Afghanistan. We got bio weapons over here in Ukraine, in China. What the heck has these people been doing in our name? They've been doing business all over the world, setting up. And know how many millions of people was being killed due to heroin. How many people was killed on COVID-19? And you mean tell me everywhere there's crimes against humanity, we funding it? Are you taking 30+% of the people's income tax, taxing us to death, and you sitting here funding our own demise? So that's something to think about, something to sleep on. Don't take it too hard, but it's a reality. You got to understand it's a reality. That's what's been going on. So we got to identify who was responsible. Career Treasury officials are breaking the law every hour of every day. Hold on, go back. By approving payments that are fraudulent or do not match the funding laws passed by Congress. This needs to stop now. 31 U.S.C. Section 3325 pertains to the voucher section of the United States Code, specifically under Title 31, which deals with money and finance. Here's a brief review, and it goes into detail about that actual law. Title vouchers. This statute outlines the requirements for vouchers used for payments by the United States government. Certification. Vouchers must be certified by an authorized official before a payment can be made. The certification ensures that the payment is for a valid purpose within the legal authority of the certifying officer and the amounts are accurate. Penalties for false certification. If an officer or employee certifies a voucher knowing it to be false, they are subject to penalty, which can include fines, imprisonment, or both. Legal text, the exact wording might be a voucher may not be paid unless it is certified by an officer or employee of the United States government designated by law or regulation to certify the voucher as corrected and proper for payment application. This statute applies broadly across federal agencies to ensure financial accountability and prevent improper payments. For the most current and detailed legal interpretation, you would need to consult the latest version of the U.S. Code of Legal Resources like Cornell's Legal Information Institute for the Government Publishing Office, GPO. For the official text and any amendments, if you need more in-depth analysis or current case law related to this statute, okay, my bad. I was tapped all the way in, but Elon plan. He exposed everything. Let me get up in here, Trump, so I can knock their noodle loose. Man, story after story after absolutely it's a scam to get around the laws passed by Congress to protect the people. It should be illegal for the U.S. government using tax funds to fund NGOs to do the work that the government is not permitted to do directly. Of dingo. That's the reason why it calls for an investigation and prosecution. That's the reason why Pam Bodie got to get in there. The FBI director Kash Patel got to get in there, and you got to get RFK in order to bring this whole thing into fruition. We got the military guys in there. We got Rubio doing his job like he just did with the Panama Canal compliance compliance agenda presented by President Trump. Really a demand for compliance pursuant to the terms of the agreement of the contract. So everybody's jobs was on the line. Wherever our interest is at, Donald Trump will be there. The administration will be there. And it's course correction. It's a bankruptcy. It's an international and national bankruptcy of the former foreign operation, money laundering operations, human trafficking operations, etc. There's a full bankruptcy in effect, in operation currently under President Trump, as it was in his 45th presidency. Whether we're talking about the Western powers, all of that infrastructure was broken up, which was why it was important to run a coup d'etat against President Trump. And in 2020, when they stole the election, he actually won it to real Trumpicans, to real Trumpites, as you probably call it. We paid close attention to the foreign invasion of our political borders, which went unaddressed, unchecked, until now. And so now, we remember you, right? We remember your role. We understood your role and position and disposition and your interest when it comes to ensuring that the American people voices were censored. Their votes were censored. Their authority was censored. And that's exactly what generated what we refer to as the constitutional crisis. Hey man, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time. Peace, love, and pay attention.